What's up, everyone? Welcome to another video, and I am so excited to press on some topics. It's gonna be amazing. The first topic, actually, this topic is all about ableism and how it can affect people with disabilities. For those who are new to the channel, hi, I'm Star. I'm a singer and songwriter. I'm 16. About to be 17, which is amazing. Amazing milestone of life. Thank you, Jesus, for another year incoming. My birthday is November 5th. I was born in 2006 in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, which is amazing. That's where I'm from. I don't know my height, and I do not know my weight. I may be short or a little bit tall. I don't know. It depends on how old you are or something like that, or how tall you are. The older you get, the more taller you get. And I don't get fat because I do have a heart condition, which is good that I don't get fat because of it. I was born with alcohol feeder syndrome and Dandy Walker syndrome. Alcohol feeder syndrome is when your parents are exposing to drugs and alcohol mixed together, which can cause disabilities such as heart problems, cognitive issues, teeth delay, developmental delay into like developmental stuff, like in your development age, you start developing poorly, and you might have some struggles later on in your life, like seizures. You might have a cyst in your brain or lack of fluid. You may have some problems with like things dealing with your health. So be in mind, if you're disabled, be in mind you are going to have some health problems like me. But due to my health, I'm good and go. But if any health errors occur, I will let you guys know. I am a singer and songwriter, producer, recording artist, independent artist. I'm not mainstream, so I do everything by myself. I'm working on one project and stuff. It's gonna be amazing. And we're gonna go right into our topic. So here we go. We're gonna be talking about ableism. Ableism is also known as discrimination in favor of able-bodied people. It's like if you discriminate people based on their cognitive delay or their physical or mental ailments, like disabilities, you'll get judged. Like a couple examples of ableism is like slurs, calling people R-worded, calling people special needs. I don't like that. Because one, it's a euphemism for disabled, like especially used on children with developmental disabilities or disabilities in general. Two, you get sterilized and drugged on, like say for instance, if you want to have a baby, people thought that people with disabilities would not have babies because of their disabilities. Some people that have disabilities actually have beautiful babies, and some may have disabilities like their mom. You know what I'm saying? It can carry on to the genes. But other than that, that's what makes everything unique. You know? Carry that beauty from your mama. Period. That's the reason why people say that I look like my mom. Because I carry her genes. But mainly I look like my dad because I carry his. Three, people will separate you from a classroom. Like they have accommodation classes, also known as special ed, and they have the general ed classes, which is like general ed. So you got two classes, special ed, general ed. When you have those two together, actually two separate, it makes them believe that if you are disabled, you should be in special ed. Like me, I have accommodations from special education, to help me. Like IEPs, also known as individual education plans, actually help you in your original state of classrooms, not just in the special education, realm, but also in the general education realm. So we got to be careful of stereotyping people, because a lot of people will say, if you have a disability, you should be in special ed. If you have a disability, you should be special needs. If you have disabilities, you should be labeled as such. If you have a disability, you shouldn't have a baby. You shouldn't be in a relationship. That's assumptions. Ableism is also known as assumptions on people with disability. People will make assumptions or lies. Lies is of the devil. Anyway, people will make assumptions and lies about you and say, you can't have this if you're disabled. Some people that have disabled actually have good jobs. Some people that have disabilities also have good careers, like me. Some people that have disabilities have marketing and YouTubes and a lot of cool things. Music, being a vocalist, being this, being that, being all this. Like, people that have disabilities often get laid to a side. Like, people never want to address that. So, this is actually a full definition. It's also known as ableism is discrimination and social prejudice. If you're social, you're talking. Like, social prejudice is like social discrimination. You're talking about people with disability and going against people with physical and mental disabilities. Mental disabilities are like mental health, intellectual disabilities, also known as cognitive delays. And mental disabilities is also known as disabilities that affect the brain and how they operate. Ableism characterizes people as they are defined by their disability. You're defined by God, not your disability. And it also classifies people as, disabled people as people who are inferior to, inferior is like, I forgot what inferior is. It's like, less than or something like that. And then superior, more than, something like that. So let's read the full definition. Ableism, also known as disability discrimination, is discrimination and social prejudice against people with physical and mental disabilities. Ableism characterizes people as they are defined by their disabilities, and also classifies people as people who are inferior, which is less than, to non-disabled people. Now I get it. Okay. On this basis, people are assigned or denied certain perceived abilities, skills, or character orientations. Although ableism and disableism are both terms which describe disability discrimination, the emphasis for each of these terms are slightly different. Ooh, which is pretty cool. Ableism is discrimination in favor of non-disabled people, while disableism is discrimination against disabled people. But it can arrive with, same thing, but in different terms, which is pretty cool. These are stereotypes which are either associated with disability in general, or they are associated with specific impairments, or also known as delays or chronic health conditions. For instance, which is example, the presumption that all disabled people can want to be cured. No, I don't want to be cured because God made me who I am. That's the reason why. Biodiversity is like, we pressed on this in biology. Biodiversity is like diversity in different things, like plants, animals, and people, which is awesome. I learned about that in biology, also known as science, which is pretty cool. The presumption that wheelchair users also have an intellectual disability. We always assume that people with wheelchairs, or people that are having issues with walking, that need wheelchairs to assist them day in and day out. We assume that people have intellectual disability, which is a cognitive impairment of the brain. And it's so disrespectful that we assume that. And people with wheelchairs actually can speak, unless they have a nonverbal like speaking disorder that can cause them to not speak in a way that they can, or the presumption that blind people have some special form of insight. I don't know what that means, but I don't care. Like, we always be believing that blind people can't see, and then we gotta cure them. We also equate that in the Bible. Like, if you have blindness, or if you have any sort of, lack of faith in God, then you're blind to the faith. Why are you equating someone's disability with not being able to have faith in God? That's so messed up. And Jesus would never do that. He's pretty cool. Jesus is pretty cool, period. Yes, sir. These stereotypes, in return, serve as a justification for discriminatory practices and reinforcing discriminatory attitudes and behaviors towards people who are disabled, like me and other people around me. And a lot of people, like some people that are in my class, have disabilities, and we never pay attention. Some people that have dyscalculia, dysgraphia, dyslexia. Dyslexia is also known as like a reading disorder. Some people can't read at a pace that others can. See, I'm learning how to be a better learner, a better reader, better this, better that, and I'm doing it, which is a good thing. The more I read, the more I be a better reader. The more I sing, the more I be a better singer. The more I produce beats, is a better producer. It's a process, not no. If you do this, you're gonna like, how we always be like, if you're a Christian, we always be like, if you don't do this, you're going to hell. That type, no. We don't do that here. And it's so mean. Yes, we're trying to warn people of hell and this and that, but we discriminate, and we disrespect people that are trying to make it to heaven. But we always say, oh, you gotta do this, you gotta do this. I went through hell and back to get where I'm going from, get to where I'm going to now, which is a good thing, that I'm going through some spiritual, warfare, which is a good thing. That means God's signing is working. See, I'm using something that's terrible and so bad to make it personally good. Why can't we? Ugh. Labeling affects people. People will label folks as such. When it limits their options for action or changes their identity. In ableist societies, the lives of disabled people is considered less worth living. Dang, that's so sick. Or disabled people less, or view people less as valuable, or even sometimes expendable. The eugenics movement, I don't know what that is. Maybe it's genes or something bullcrap, of the 20th century is considered an expression of widespread ableism. But let's look at the history behind it. Dang. Ableism, we're going to start in Nazi Germany. That's when everything started to shake. It's so messed up. In July 1933, Hitler, alongside the Nazi Germany government, which is pretty disgusting, implemented the law of the prevention, a law for the prevention of progeny with hereditary disease offspring. Dang. So that means people with disabilities were sterilized and they couldn't have babies. That's the reason why, this is wicked. I'm ready to go to heaven. Send me, Jesus. But essentially, this law implemented sterilization practices for all people who had what were considered hereditary disabilities or diseases. So disgusting. For example, disabilities such as mental illness, blindness, and deafness were all considered hereditary diseases. Therefore, people with these disabilities were sterilized, drugged. The law also created propaganda, lies, against people with disabilities. People with disabilities were displayed as unimportant towards progressing the Aryan race. In 1939, Hitler signed the secret euthanasia. I can't pronounce it. See? Problems. Program decree action. I said what the heck? Action T4, which authorized the killing of selected patients diagnosed with chronic neurological and psychiatric disorders, which is like mental illness. So they were killing folks with disabilities, especially those with neurological delays. Dang, that's the reason why a lot of doctors choose to tell you if you tend to have carry a disabled child, you have to abort it. Dang, they try and force that abortion bull crap on us. Unless it gets super sick and I can't handle it, I'd rather carry it until it's stillborn, not kill it. Unless it's for us to do so. This program killed about 70,000 disabled people. A lot, gosh. They're probably still doing it now. Before it was officially halted by Hitler in 1941 under public pressure, and it was unofficially continued out of the public eye, killing a total of 200 or more people by the end of Hitler's reign in 1945. Hitler was a bad guy. Ooh, so bad. Ooh, we gotta listen to what happened in the United States, man. This is the history behind this. This is so demonic, y'all. Much like many minority groups, disabled Americans were often segregated, which is separated, and denied certain rights for a majority of American history. In the 1800s, let's go back in time, shift to 1800s. A shift from a religious view to a more scientific view. The religious view is that, if you have a disability, then you're possessed by the devil. Or you have an evil spirit if you have a disability. Especially if you have epilepsy or any neurological delay that affects you mentally, like your brain. Like a brain injury, people will call you those things and tell you you're possessed, they're demonic and all that, to a scientific view. Dang. Took place and much more caused more individuals to be examined. Oh, with disabilities? Woo! And wow, this is so demonic. So demonic. So demonic. Oh my goodness. America, we need to do better. America has a problem. And we're here to solve it. Yeah. Without disabled people, there wouldn't be no biodiversity. Dang. Diverse in a lot of things. Public stigma began to change after World War II, when many Americans returned home with disabilities, especially those that fought in the war. They had disabilities from the war or have disabilities. Though, even when you have disabilities from the war or have disabilities, you get separated or you get sent home or something like that. In the 1960s, that's when the R word is still approaching. Following the civil rights movement, shout out to civil rights, yes sir. In America, the war began the disabled rights community. The disabled rights movement. It's just like civil rights. Like, we want to have, you know how we be like, when do we want what do we want justice? When do we want the right? Now, like, we want freedom. We just want rights. Rights to have freedom and a life to live until God calls us home. But no, the world is not accommodating for us. Schools are not, churches is not accommodating to their congregation. But at least I go to church. I love church. Or I would watch the church serving if I'm not at church or something like that. I love that I can become who I want to be because God has made me who I want to be. Another thing is that we discriminate people based on their sexuality, based on their gender, whether if you're male or female, based on their age, which is how young or old you are. Like, you know how people that are older than, my generation, which is me, they would say, like, if I'm listening to a song that they played over and over again so I can actually get into the groove with what they're listening to, they'll say this. What you know about that? Like, dude, I listen to the music with you. What do I not know about that? Like, come on, dude. You're trying to make me not know about it? I see what y'all trying to hide. That's sexual immorality. That's sexual demonic possession. They got demon possessing spirits in sexual acts. We gotta get away from that. The movement was intended to get, I just wanted to point that out. But yeah. The movement was intended to give all individuals with disabilities equal rights and opportunities, just like everybody else. Until the 1970s, ableism in the United States was often codified into law. For example, in many jurisdictions, so many ugly laws, like if you're disabled, you're called ugly or something like that, and you get sent away or something. Barred people from appearing in public if they have disabilities or disfigurements that were confirmed, considered unsightly. That's the reason why a lot of people don't want to talk about it, and people get mad when you're trying to explain what they be doing and how demonic they do, and it's crazy. We infantilize people. We do a lot of stuff. We also would infantilization is also like treating them as their younger selves instead of treating them like oneself. So let's talk about the types of ableism. So this is the main types of ableism, how we affect people with disabilities and so on and so forth, which is so disrespectful and demonic. Everything about ableism is so demonic. I can tell you, Jesus would never do some type of things like that. People would do. Types of ableism. First, we got physical ableism. Is hate or discrimination based on their physical disability. Like if you have cerebral palsy or anything that's physical, including spina bifida or anything that requires a wheelchair and stuff, or or a cane or something that can help you see or something like that, help you like get across the world. They are labeled like we're like if you have a physical disability in church, you'll say, oh, you get healed. I believe in healings. Yes, I do. But I don't want to demonize you because you have a significant delay that I may not know about. I'm not going to be like, oh, you have a disability, you're demonic, you're this. I had to press in on how demonic this is, you know? You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. That pressure that we have on folks with disabilities, we never want to press in on what's going on. As a disabled person myself, I have significant disabilities. I have fun. I have fun with disabilities. I'm glad that I have a disability. As a disabled person myself, I get compared to people that are not disabled. And it mainly be my own family that's comparing me to something that's not me. Like, just because I have a disability doesn't mean that I gotta do this and do that. Like, worry about yourself, not me. Unless I'm sick and not feeling well or having a bad day or trying to have a good day, but you're trying to ruin it by comparing me to somebody, you know? That's like comparison. You know how we, like say for instance, black moms. Black moms would compete with their young daughter or young son, and they would compare their daughters to their son or their daughters to their own daughter. That's the reason why siblings hate each other, because of that. And we gotta stop doing that with disabilities too, because it's so demonic in the black community. We gotta stop comparing people with disabilities to other people that don't have disabilities, and we gotta stop comparing people that have just differences, and we gotta stop comparing our fellow offspring, which is our children, to other children, because not everybody learns at the same pace. Everybody's different, you know. Let's go on. Satanism or sadism. I end up saying Satanism or mental disability. Ableism is discrimination based on mental health conditions and cognitive disabilities or developmental delays. Medical ableism exists both interpersonally, which is all together. As healthcare providers can be ableist and demonic because of the way they treat people with disabilities, and say, oh, if you, like, say for instance, if you have seizures or anything, they will say, oh, you're lying, without actually giving you tests to see if you are not feeling well, like, to just monitor you. Still, you gotta monitor somebody that don't feel well. And systematically, as decisions determined by medical institutions and caregivers may prevent the exercise of rights from disabled patients, like autonomy and making decisions. Autonomy is like being able to carry offspring and, you know, yourself. And making decisions is like making valuable decisions on your own. You know, people believe, like, if you have a disability like me, an intellectual disability that affects you mentally, people will say, you can't make decisions. It can be hard for you to make decisions because of your disability, but it's still no excuse to stop, stop people from doing that. The medical model of disability can be used to justify medical ableism. Medical model is like believing that if you have disabilities, you have to be cured. And they had a lot of terms like the R word. I don't want to say it, but look it up for yourself. Not me. Structural ableism is failing to produce, like, structural ableism, also known as not receiving accommodations, like excessive tools like ramps, wheelchairs, special education equipment, or accommodations with services like those, which often also is an example of hostile architecture. Um, Cultural ableism is behavioral, cultural, attitudinal, and social. It's like social model of it, of ableism that may discriminate people against them. You know. The social model, like, which is the cultural ableism, we always assume that if you have a disability of any sort, then you are possessed by the devil, which is religious view, which can be a cultural view if you're a Christian or something like that. And people believe that if you have a disability, you should be cured, or you should be healed from it. You should be this and that. You shouldn't be able to go out in the real world because of your disabilities, instead of treating them like, as such. Cultural ableism is also including by denying or dismissing or individualizing disabled folks, and by making the accessibility and support unattainable and unaffordable. Let me stop. I don't want to say international. Internalized ableism is a disabled person discriminating against themselves. Dang. I have that too. Because I discriminate myself by calling myself names. I remember that, and then I stopped. And also, I would do the same thing to others, which is a bad thing. See, I'm confessing. Don't get mad at me because we all going through the same phase. Don't be hypocrite. Don't be a hypocrite, just like how BB's dad, I was actually reading a story about BB in fourth period in my English class, talking about how he came out to his dad and how hypocritical his dad was, into not letting him, like, talk about him coming out as a homosexual, also known as gay. And people like him would stop him from doing this and doing that because he's so-called gay. Oh well. But it's still no excuse. It is a sin, yes, but it's still no excuse to be homophobic and be against them. They not against us. The reason why they're against us is because we battle against them, and it's sad. It's demonic too. Christians are most demonic than worldly people. I ain't gonna lie, because we always be demonizing everything instead of looking to the spiritual realm and just keep our beliefs to ourselves. And other disabled people, by holding the view that disability is something to be ashamed of or something to hide, or by refusing accessibility, which is accommodation or support, which you definitely need if you have a disability of any sort, including dyscalculia, dysmorphia, dyslexia, intellectual disability, autism, all that good stuff. Epilepsy too. Epilepsy is also a disability and a chronic illness. You get ill, you start to pass out at certain points. I don't have epilepsy, but that can affect you into being diagnosed with it if you have 2 or more seizures a day. That can be tested, and make sure it's tested for epilepsy and not nothing else, or just a seizure disorder in general. But also, another thing that we need to address is we gotta be careful what we say about people, and it's sickening. Internalized ableism can also be a result of mistreatment of disabled individuals, like treating them wrong and disrespectful, and also it is a form of gaslighting from society, because we always gaslight folks with disabilities. Say if you have a disability, like if, say for instance, you're disabled and I'm a medical professional, and I end up saying, you don't have a disability, you're good. I'm medically inclined to gaslight you because of that, thinking of, if you have a disability, you're supposed to have a severe form. That's what people thought about disabled folks. If you have a disability, you're supposed to have a severe form of disability instead of the mild form that I have. Disability have in ranges, which is categories from mild to severe or profound, you know what I'm saying? Which is severe, also known as severe. But we gotta be careful what we say about people. Hostile ableism is a cultural or social kind of ableism where people are hostile towards symptoms of a disability or phenotypes of a disabled person. Benevolent ableism, dang, I did not know what that is. It's another term for infantilization. Benevolent ableism, I just figured that out. Okay. Benevolent ableism is when people treat the disabled person well, but like a child, also known as infantilization. And everybody in my family got that wrong. Like, dude, just because I'm disabled doesn't mean I can't carry society like Jesus did with his ministry. Like, what? I can do it. Because God made me. You're just a caregiver. You're just a sperm donor. I'm the offspring. I can do it. If I believe in Jesus, I can do it. If I believe in Jesus, I can also do that. Period. Instead of considering them as a full-grown adult, we always consider, how we always have, treat our disabled, actually no, not just disabled, treat our teenagers like they're younger instead of older. Like, if you're treating me like I'm older, you're treating me how to be responsible, how to be more respectful. You're teaching me how to honor people's wishes. You're teaching me how... If you're not teaching me anything, I'm not going to be anything in this world. If you're not teaching me how to cook and clean, I'm not going to be able to cook and clean at my own house. If you're not teaching me how to be independent, how am I going to be able to be independent? If you're teaching me how to drive, I'm going to be able to drive. If you're teaching me how to walk in faith, actually, I know how to walk in faith. All I gotta do is just say, I got this. Even if I don't. And we gotta stop treating our children like they're babies. They're younger than their original selves. First of all, I may be younger in the mind, but in my age, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Examples. For example, including ignoring disabilities, not respecting the life experiences of disabled people, microaggressions, not considering the opinion of the disabled person in important decision making, and we always want to go to our parents. First of all, and people believe that if you have disabilities, you can't make decisions for yourself. I can actually make decisions. It's just that certain decisions may not work for me, and I slowly progress into making certain decisions, which is okay. Invasion of privacy or personal boundaries, forced corrective measures, unwanted help, not listening to disabled people, and not paying attention to them either. Ambivalent ableism is also known as being characterized as somewhere in between hostile and benevolent. This is pretty much all that fits in. This is types of ableism that we do and express and have on people with disabilities, especially me. Just because you're disabled doesn't mean you can't be ableist. Don't mind me. I'm just an ableist prick right now. But at the same time, I'm trying so hard. By the grace of God, help me. Ableism may be evolutionary, which is the causes of ableism, and existential organs, fear of contagion. We believe that people with disabilities are contagious, which is not true. Fear of death. You can't be scared of that. I'm not scared of death, but I'm scared of being forced to die. Like, what the heck? No, it may also be rooted in belief systems, social Darwinism, whatever that bullcrap. Language, such as suffering from the R word, special needs, like language, ableist language, and all that demonic stuff, or unconscious bias, like we have beliefs of something. So this is all what pairs up with ableism, and I want y'all to just clarify, understand that it is so demonic to think about people that way with disabilities. And people with disabilities are known to be so smart, so intelligent, and some people think that they're dumb because they can't speak. We also label people that can't speak as non-intelligent, uncool, and etc. And we never realize it until they pull out that communication device and speak for itself. And that's all we have today. Don't forget, we'll be doing a lot of stuff, and I'm gonna go ahead and finish recording the song that I'm working on, and I might show you how to mix your song and all that good stuff, whether it's in Soundtrap and BandLab. I do use Soundtrap and BandLab, which is awesome. I'm really so excited for y'all to see that, and also for the release of the song, if I finish it, and I can also release it. Make sure you stay tuned for new videos, and we're gonna wow out, We'll have fun, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for new videos, and that will be pretty much all, because that's all I've been thinking about, because a lot of people, we equate faith with disability. We equate blindness with lack of faith, which is also known as a disability. We equate sicknesses and illness and disabilities with demonic possession, and we got to be careful what we say about people, and that's all we got to do. And stay prayed up, stay focused, and know that God is in control of everything and anything. And we will be returning with the next video on certain topics. We might be pressing on some certain topics, not only with music, but also topics serious topics like this. We might do a lot of stuff. Just follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter. Not Twitter. Dang. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on YouTube, follow me on TikTok. Follow me on YouTube, also known as subscribe. I'm gonna say follow because you follow me on my journey and my faith and so many more. We're gonna have faith-based content. We're gonna have some music releasing very soon, and we're gonna have a lot of stuff behind the scenes on how to mix and master, and we're gonna be done with the song and done with a lot of stuff. no new music is coming out very soon, so stay tuned for that. And that's it. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one very, very soon. Love ya. Bye.